Hey guys, my name is Hashim Mohammed and welcome to this hack project tutorial. In this video, we'll be building an application that lets users visualize and take decisions with ease and more convenience. So let me try to make it clear what our application is going to let you do. So in our everyday life, the problem goes something like this: is that it takes a lot of time to take, especially big decisions in our lives. For example, if it's gonna be work, if there's a project that I have to submit tomorrow, if I have a deadline tomorrow, and if there's a party tonight, would probably be it becomes a really challenging task because if we want to go to the party, we're gonna have a good time and we want to be happy, but at the same time tomorrow there's a very important thing that's gonna affect us in the long term. Now, that's just an example of a possible decision, but your decisions can be bigger. It depends on what industry you are in. But so, like decisions like this are going to be easy for you to take in. If, for instance, if you can probably share your decisions with other people, if you want to, of course, and probably other people can vote on decisions, or what you can do is you can actually visualize all of what is going to happen if you take this decision. For example, um, every decision has a pro and a con. So, for instance, if you want to go to the party, the obvious advantage is that you're going to have a good time. You're probably going to socialize. You're going to make some new friends, and who knows, you probably are gonna hire new people. On the flip side, if you're gonna go to if you're gonna stay at home, you're probably gonna have some disadvantages, and the disadvantages go something like, oh well, you're not gonna have a good time socializing. You're not gonna socialize. You're not gonna make a new set of friends. You're not probably not gonna have a chance to hire new people. But the advantage is that you're probably gonna finish the work tomorrow, or probably not because you're gonna probably procrastinate. So that's what the application lets you do is like to sort of visualize decisions and share them with other people and sort of make decisions together. So before I started, I actually just built a UI, and just one simple thing. Like this is the main application that where you can create a decision, and other people decision will be printed here. Like it's still not done. So I will show you guys how I did this. But before I do that, um, let me tell you what actually happens is here is that you type in the decision you want to take, and then we click on create decision. A new board is created, or this is one decision. You can share it with your team if you want to. And when you click on add choice, what happens is you or the people who created this board or people who are involved in this board can add choices, so other people can say, oh, I prefer this, I prefer that. In this case, I'm only showing the numbers, but you can definitely show who are the people who preferred this option or the other ones. So in this case, it's just vote. I called it prefer, but you can call it word or something. So if, for instance, you're going to call this vote, and we voted for this, okay? So this is like this is one way. This is what I've built. But actually, there's one more thing that I want to add. And that is something that I don't have space here at the moment, and in this design. But I'm going to show you how I did that as I'm going to do that as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a place where users can add a set of disadvantages and advantages so other people can see that. Um, I'm gonna add that as well. But let's go ahead and start explaining what I did. So I have a login and a sign up thing. Before I get any further, let me tell you guys up front, the tool I'm using is called bubble.is. For all of those guys who don't know anything about bubble.is, I go to the link in the description. There is a link to my Skillshare tutorial or the course. And what I'll do there is I'll be teaching you guys some basics with some very useful projects that you'll be making during the course. And joining Skillshare is free. It also helps this channel grow. So go to Skillshare, take up the course, and then come back here because in this video I'll be as you can see that I've pre-built a couple of things. So if you guys have no understanding of Bubble, you probably will get stuck a little bit here because this is slightly advanced. This is slightly an advanced application of the Bubble concepts. So with that out of the way, So sign in and login is nothing really fancy. So it's basic sign in and login. The only thing I added is a full name. Just ignore this board for now. Just see the user. So your email password is already given to us when you create the new application on Bubble. The only new field I added is called full name. Again, completely optional, but again, it really helps the user to sort of see who the person is. Okay, so you can of course have a profile picture, which I was about to do, but I just didn't do it out of no time. So again, you guys can just pause it and see what I did here is I just added the logic to sign the user up or login. So there's sign up and login, and I just get these values. And I'm just going to move this a little fast so you guys can see what I did. So once the login and sign up is done, I'm saying when the user is logged in because sign up is also equal to login. In the case of Bubble, what happens is when you do the sign up thing, unless and of course you ask the user to verify the user using an email, using email confirmation. Unless that is the case, what happens is as soon as the user is created or the user is logged in, he will be declared as a user is logged in on Bubble. So what I'm going to do is once I detect that, I'll send him to the home page, which is another page I created, where I will have boards. Now there's one more. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm organizing all my decisions inside a set of boards. So like, or you can call it projects. So I called it bored because I take decisions even for my personal life. It's not necessarily only for the projects. So I'm probably gonna like divide my projects into like for instance, um, I'm gonna be doing a project, so it can be like a create a new project, but let's say it's personal life. So if it's something related to like let's say like my marriage or something, I'm gonna create a different board for that. If it's something about my parents or something, I'm create a different boards for that. My affair with my let's say my friends or something, I'm gonna create a board for that. This way it's a little organized, and that's what I feel like it's a better thing to do. But again, it's like what I'm creating here is a very bare bones implementation, but again, you guys can take this to a really whole new level. So I added a simple repeating loop here, and I added a text, of course. And once I add the repeating loop, I just made the styling like this. Forget this for now. Um, I'm gonna change the layout style to extended vertical scrolling so that whenever I scroll anywhere on the screen, it just scrolls down. Um, And this rows, number of rows doesn't really matter. Actually, it's just how much space you want to give to this view. So it's just like, it's just previewing all of that. But if you give it one, it's just that this whole repeating group, this whole space will be reserved for just one. But anyways, it's going to show how many ever items you have. Now what I'm doing is I want to only show the boards that I created. Now this is how I want it to run, but again, you're free to like not organize this like this. You can probably just redirect them directly to the board. But I feel like if you want to share anything, like you probably don't want to share the whole board itself, like the whole decisions with your friends because that's not practical. Like you can't really show your personal life or your work life with other people. That's maybe not the right thing to do. So what I do is I create boards and I can share them with different people. So let's call this like this. Uh, I'm just like, oh, this is like the third or fourth time I'm making this video, so that's why I'm exhausted. So what I did is I added a title, I'm sorry, a text inside this repeating loop, and just call it something you want. And what I did is I go to the data and call this board, and then apologies spelling mistake, click on create. And once you do that, you want to add a new field called title and the type as text. You want to click on create, and we have this. So once we do that, what we want to do is you want to click on this repeating group, and type of the content is board. Data source is search, do a search for boards. The type is board again, and created by is equal to current user. Again, what do I mean by current user? It's the person who's logged in. So we only this is exclusive to the user who's logged in. So everybody will see a different set of boards here. Okay, so now I'm gonna change. I'm gonna remove this share button here. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add. Okay, so we have the text here. So if I click on this text here, what I want to do is I want to throw him to the board page. And the data to send, actually the board is another page that I just created. Okay, so this board, just create an empty page here and then change the type of the content as board. Field readable URL is title, doesn't really matter, but it's better you do that. Go back to the home page, and then click on this and go back to this one here. It says data to send is current sales board. So which board are we talking about? The board that is over here, whichever board you clicked on here. So the delete logic is over there. If you want to create a new board, as you can see here, we have a title section here. So I added a new title. So when I'm creating a new board, I'm saying the title of the value is going to come from the input box, and then I'm just resetting the input box here so that the next time I want to add anything, this field is just reset and it's empty. So let's go back to the board page. So what I did is I added a grouping. I added a group here with a place where the user can type in what is the actual decision that he wants to take about. So what's this decision about? And when you click on create decision, that decision will be printed here. I have not done this part yet, so I'm going to do that in this video. Like right now, I just created the UI for it. So as you can see here, we have a part where we're going to show what the decision is about, which is going to come from here. And then the users, especially what I'm thinking is only the person who created this board will be able to add choices. But again, you can make this available for everybody who's able to view this board. So so what you can do is you can allow the user to type in a choice and then add a choice, and other people can vote for this. There's one more thing that you want to do is you want to allow the user to see what is the pros and cons of taking this particular choice. So you want to add that as well. Let's see how we can do that in a while. So what I did first is I added a repeating group here. So this is a group with simple input and button, right? So this is a repeating group. I added a group inside it. I added this text, like the um, I added a basic texture heading here, and then this is a text box. I mean, an input box, and then this will be a button. I selected both these objects, and I clicked on group these elements into a group, so this becomes a group. Whenever I move this, both these elements move together. Actually, there's a bigger advantage to it than being just able to move these components. It's actually for responsiveness as well as for something that I'll tell you guys in shortly. But just do what I'm going to say is just go down here, select this empty portion of the group here, and select collapse this element when height is hidden. So what we're doing here is that this part, okay, will not be visible to everybody who are able to view this board here. Only the people, this ability to create choices is only when you have when you're able to view this group, okay? So we're gonna hide this group when the person who's visiting this group is not the creator of this board. So that's what I'm gonna do here today. So there's one more thing that that this UI does not do, and as I said before, it's that it doesn't really show how I can see the advantages and disadvantages of taking one particular choice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to like probably put this right here, okay? And I'm gonna like make the button smaller, and I'm going to put this right like this, and probably something like this. Um, and I'm gonna put them like this, okay? So, alright. Alright, so now we have it. Now we wanna like duplicate it. We wanna have it like this, and then we're going to yeah, there you go. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to display the cons and the advantages. So we're saying advantages, okay, and I'm gonna make this bold. A better way to do this is by advantages, disadvantages. Uh, you can. I don't know if this is the best way to present this, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this bold and this also bold, and I'm gonna add a couple of values, a dummy value. I'm gonna unbold this, and I'm gonna save, and I'm gonna just like like allow the user to edit the advantages and disadvantages. Something else I'm going to do is I'm going to add a group inside of this repeating group. By the way, this is another repeating group. Okay. It doesn't have any value. Okay, it's empty. Okay, because I've not created a data set for it yet. So I'm gonna extend this. It's always a good habit for every UI element to have one group, like every UI element, be text, button, or anything. It's always a good habit to like put them inside a group. Okay. So this video is brought to you by Zero Code. So if you were looking to build a dynamic website for your business or for yourself, you can hire these wonderful guys at Zero Code who have a lot of experience with developing applications using Bubble, or you can buy one of their premium quality templates, and which will take a lot of time to actually develop. So if you are interested, go check out the link in the description. It also helps this channel. So yeah. Okay, I'm going to leave it like this. What I'm going to do is select the group here, and as if you move the group, the only way to find out if the group is working properly is if you move this, the text has to move along with it. So now you know that the group is inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that back into the repeating group inside here, and then I'm going to say collapse element when the height is hidden. So what is actually what I'm doing here is what I mean by collapse element is that when I'm hiding this, if I don't select this, if for example I want to hide this for whatever reason, if the advantages and disadvantages is empty, you don't want to show that, right? So if it's empty, if I don't choose this, what will happen is even if the values are not present, you will, if it's empty, it will still take up that space. Okay, like for example, imagine if these, like if the user has not typed in the advantages and disadvantages, which it will be in the beginning. um if he has not typed in the advantages and the disadvantages, this space will be taken up and this whole space will be wasted, right? That's why what I do is I put all the elements inside a group, so that if I want to hide anything, besides the response and disadvantages, and the other advantage I have is if I want to hide something, I can hide that and sort of give room to the other UI components. And that's how I do it. So that's a good thing to do always, and just keep that in mind. It's not just for this tutorial, but grouping is a very good habit. Okay. Also, I'm just gonna like center this horizontally. Now we have something that looks at least a little presentable. Like you can leave out the dummy values like the DFS and DFSD. They don't mean anything. It's okay. I'm just gonna like leave it like this. All right. Um. So okay. So I'm just gonna leave it like this. We're probably gonna have the ability for the user to add advantages and disadvantages. So we need to add that button somewhere. So uh, um, like edit, probably that would be a better word, I guess. No background button. So we want to have this, and like okay, so I want to say define, or like define consequences. You can. I think that's a much better thing to do. Or you know what? I'm gonna remove this text here. I'm gonna add a repeating group here. Okay? That would be a better thing to do, I guess. Oops. So I'm gonna put a repeating group here inside of this group. And what I'm going to do is, instead of showing the advantages, disadvantages, let's define the consequences as a whole. Like you can make this vertical scrolling. You cannot add actually an extended vertical scrolling inside of a repeating group. Okay? So I just wanted to throw it out there. Now what we want to do is we want to say the rows is probably 2. We want to move this down there, and we want to make the separator is something like this. We want to show all the consequences as a text. Okay. Uh, so probably something like this. All right. Um, so what we're going to do is we're going to display the choice and the consequences that will happen. So he's going to define the consequences. Let's say define consequences. We're going to show a pop-up. Okay, so the consequences is that the user is going to be able to add. I'm gonna add a repeating group here. I'm gonna add for each of these choices there will be consequences. So it's gonna say. So I'm gonna add a button here. So I say add consequence, and I'm going to like again, guys, I'm probably not spending enough time in thinking about if this is the right way to organize information. Like the reason for that is my biggest challenge that I'm trying to like help you guys out on is on the technical side. So that's the main agenda of making this video per se. It's not just to share the idea, but also to help you do things. So since that's my main agenda, I'm sticking to making sure that this works as opposed to making sure it's going to be used by people. Like you guys will do a better job in that, I guess. So I'm gonna add a repeating group here to just see what are the like consequences. So this is going to be consequence. Consequence number one. Some data here. So we're gonna type in what will happen if, okay, now we're going to say insert dynamic data. This is a placeholder text. So if we want to say is we want to change the pop-up type to type of the content to actually, now we can create a new data thing here. You want to call this as decision because each decision will belong to a board, and that board reference is what we need because the reason we're creating a new data type called decision is because decisions have so many things. They have choices. They have, if there's so many things that you want to save inside of one, um, yeah, if there's so many things that you want to save inside of one data element that you need to create, then you need to create a different data type here, and then and if you want to refer to another data type, then you need to add a reference like this. So creative decision. We're also going to have the title of the decision, what the decision is about. So that's going to be text, plain just simple text, and we're definitely going to have a set of choices. So we're going to have choices that people are going to vote for. So before we go on to the choices, let's go ahead and add the consequence. So we, all right. So we looks like we have that done. Um, the UI is ready, I guess. So we need to like go back to define consequences first button here. We want to show that pop-up. So we want to say show this pop-up. Before we do that, we want to define. Okay, let's go back to the pop-up here. Add consequence. Oh, we don't have that here. Okay, no, don't, just never mind. Okay. So I'm just going to now start creating the workflow for it. Let's go back to the home page. So this is what happens is when I click on this button, it goes to this board page. So here we are. Now let's start from the beginning. The top here is a create decision. So the first thing you want to do is you want to create a new decisions. When I click on this button, I'm going to create two. I'm going to add two values here: board reference and the title of the decision. If you remember already, the board, the value of which board we're editing is actually like already typed on the this value is passed on from the home page, or at least from the URL. So which board are we talking about? That is already referred in this page. So we know that from the value. So when I say board reference is the current page board. That's the board we're creating this decision into. So what is the decision for? So what is it? I'm going to take that from the input value there. One small tip is that often Bubble will like sort this by the nearest element corresponding to the element that you're editing on or adding workflow to. So like if there's two elements with a symbol or placeholder, a small tip is like uh, it's always easier to like look for the most probable element that you're tying with. It will be on the top most. Okay, it will be on the top. So like if you see this button here, like create decision, the closest element is this. Well, at least Bubble sort of understands that because you've grouped these two things together, the most likely element that you're probably gonna make use of is the element that's closest to it. So that will be on the top. So often just a small tip, but yeah, you can of course you can just hover onto this and find out which element you're talking about there. So there's also one more thing you want to do. A small thing is you reset element inputs. Um, Now we created a decision. Now let's go back over here, and then we want to on the first repeating group on the topmost. Okay, the first repeating group. You want to say the type of the content is we want to show all the um, decisions. So we want to show all the decisions that have been. You want to show all the decisions that you created? I don't think so. You don't want to show just that because these boards, like this board here, can be created, like shared with other people. So So what we want to do is we want to say, so we want to add a condition here, board reference. Like we only want to show all the decisions that are mapped with the current page board. So that's what we're going to do here, and we have like a group here. So we want to actually define the value here, and type of the content is board. I'm going to say current cells decisions. Oh, sorry, it's not board, it's decision. Okay, this group here is now referring to the decision that is coming from the first parent one. Okay, so now let's go here. This decision text, let's replace the static text with the data coming from the database like this. Now we want to like add a condition to this. We only want to display this thing if I'm the one who's logged in and I'm the creator of this board. If I'm the owner of this board, then I'll be able to view this. So by default, this group is visible to everybody, but I want to hide it if other people come in. So how can I do that? So I want to say if the current user isn't logged in, or if the current user is not the current page board's creator. So these are two basic conditions, probabilities if the user is not authorized to add a choice here. So I don't want to hide, I want to hide this, so I'm going to say this element is visible, I'm going to uncheck this. So this time, this part will not even be visible for other people. So now let's go back to the repeating group that's inside of this repeating group. Now this is for choice. I think we need to create a new data type here. I'm going to call this choice. Now, something that, let's go call this a choice description, first thing. And the field type will be text. And then we're also going to have each choice is going to have, well, votes, which is going to be users. Only the logged in users will be able to like vote for it. So I'm gonna like list of users. We can extract the number from the list of users, like how many people are inside that user type. So we're also going to have like consequences. So this is going to be like a number of text, like just simple text. But you can have, if you're going to have images, then you want to create a new type and then create a choice reference and then do that. There's one more thing you want to do is every choice is going to be referred to inside a board, actually not a board but decision, because decision is mapped to a board. We don't really need to talk about board. So choices come inside a board. So I'm going to go down here, click on decision. So decision reference, each choice will belong to a decision. So this is a decision. So we want to say do type of content is do, choice. The data source will be do a search for choices. You only want to display the choices where the decision reference is equal to the parent group's decision. Parent group is referring to this here, and that is coming from the current cell's decision. So so we're only displaying the choices that belong to this current decision. So now we want to display the choice description. So you want to say current cell's choice description. Let's go to add choice here, and then let's go and create a new choice. And the board reference, I'm sorry, the decision reference will be the parent group's. Um, oh, we don't have that because we grouped these things. Even this thing needs to have a type of content as decision. I want to say data source as parent group's decision. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to say decision reference is parent group's decision, and the value of that choice will come from the input box. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to reset the values there. So now I'm going to create that choice, and that choice will be over here, and now I'll be able to vote for it. So how can I vote for it? So if anybody clicks on this button, I want to make changes to a thing, and that I want to change is the current cell's choice. Oh no, I want to make changes to the. Oh, this is inside a choice. Actually, oh yeah, I do. It's just correct. That's correct. Current cell's choice. What we want to do is we want to say votes. We want to add the current user by default. That's what we're gonna do. Is want to say only when the current cell's votes doesn't contain the current user. So if the user has already voted for it, that user will go inside this choices vote section, right? So you want to copy this and paste this again. You want to do the exact opposite. You want to remove that person if he's going to tap on the button again. I'm going to say current sales choice contains the current user. What I mean by that is this workflow will only be triggered when the user has already liked this post or sorry voted for this post, and this will be triggered when the user has not voted for this choice yet. So one problem with this is that they can vote for multiple things. Now you can of course prevent that. Like as I said here, we also have a static texture. Now instead of 12, I'll replace this, insert dynamic data, and say current sales choices votes. Now you can just leave it like this. You will get a red value that's an error because now we want to display only the number, so we want to say count, and that displays the number of people who have voted for this. Just don't mind the fact that it's not showing the whole thing. That's because this is just the database like sequence or whatever. Now we want to just go back to the repeating group inside of the choice here. Before I do that, there's a group here. So you want to say type of the content is choice. Say current sales choice. Now go back to the repeating groups that is inside of this. You want to say type of the content is text. And why is that? Well, one, you want to display the consequences, and consequences are, well, just a string of text. You want to say data source is parent group's choice um, consequences. You want to display the edit me as current cells text. So that's it. Now we're going to display the consequences, be able to vote for it. One thing that's remaining is you want to say when the current cells choices votes contains the current user. What I mean by that is if the user has already voted for this, then you want to change the text to voted. And if you want to, or you can say like unvote or whatever. I don't know what's the other option for that. Okay, so let's leave it like this. And I guess apart from the delete button, oh yeah, by the way, there's one more thing we want to do is we just don't want to show pop-up because we need to define, okay, this pop-up here is going to add consequences. So we need to define the consequences, of course. And let's go ahead and create a new, actually, we're going to, there's one thing we want to do is we want to click on this. Type of the content is actually choice, and you want to say you want to leave this data source empty. And what will happen is you want to like say what will happen if we have a dynamic data here. You want to say parent group's choice description. So if I take this choice, what will happen? We want to say we want to make changes to a thing. That's because text, it's just a simple string of text. So you want to say a parent group's choice. You want to set the decision, I'm sorry, you want to add a new consequence. So if I click on the add button, I will add a new consequence, okay? And then once I'm ready, okay, uh, I can say done. I can add another button here. So this is optional, but it's okay. This is not really important. Like it automatically saves it, so you don't really need to do this. But it's the user might look for this option. So we're gonna add a close button. So I'm gonna say just to be sure, I'm going to do this. Okay, make changes to a thing. I'm gonna say paragraphs options. You want to say the consequences set list, which is like set list, and say the repeating group, which is gonna come from here. There you go. We want to display one more thing is you want to go back to Spring Group and so say type of the content is text. You want to say data source is parent group's text consequences. So now we want to display, instead of consequence number 1, current sales text. Okay, you can check it out here. We want to once we click on the done button, we want to hide this pop-up as well. All right, so we're gonna hide this. Before we move on, we want to go to define consequences. Go here, and before you show anything, you want to display the current pop-up choice. You want to say current sales choice. So you want to cut this, paste over here. Okay. Now let's go ahead and check this out. So we need to create a new user actually. So let's go ahead and create a new user and then go ahead and test if everything's okay. So I'm gonna just type in my name at email.com test 1 2 3. Okay. Um, I'm gonna go up to the part where I can create the board. We actually still didn't add the logic to let the users share this board. So let's go ahead and create the first one, which is called person. I don't know what I mean by that, but okay. Um, I'm gonna click on person. So the first decision I want to take is making a video tomorrow. And I'm gonna like leak out what the next video might possibly be on creating a couch gaming uh, shared couch gaming service. So I don't like, okay, so this one decision is yes, and there's another one which is no. So these are the two choices, and I'm going to like, you can vote for it, but you can also disable the user to not be able to vote for their own choice. So the defined consequences is like, if I say yes, I'll get probably, I will provide more value. So if I say that's more value, so that's the, like if I click on done, this is one of the consequences. If I do that, I can vote for it. So one person voted for this. Define consequences. Oh, by the way, you can see here, if I click on this again, just refresh this page. I voted for this, but if uh, oh, I can't remove that. Okay, let's go back here. You can do something like this. Make changes to a thing. So, I'm not sure why that's doing it, but okay. Let's go ahead and add a consequence to this. No, I will remain useless. Okay, so that's going to be one of the consequences. So, which do I want to vote? No, you can of course disable buttons based on conditions like this. Okay, say disable like isn't clickable. That's the disable option. So, you can also do that. Um, So if you want to say you want to be able to only vote for one decision in a choice, so you can only choose for one. If you want to do that, then what you can do is you want to say and you want to add both of these conditions because both of these conditions are important. So you want to say if the do a search for. You want to do a search for all the choices because choice is a different data element itself. So you want to say you want to only refer to all the choices where the decision reference is equal to the like oh wait wait, I'm doing a mistake here. Let's go we have to still choose this one here, which is group decision, this one here. So you want to say we want to search for all the choices where the decision reference is over here. So what I'm trying to say is look for all the choices which are grouped under this decision. And if all those choices votes contains current user. So if he has voted for any user, then you want to disable that. So what I mean by that is if I voted for one of them, it will not allow me to vote for the other one. Oh wait, hold on a second. So well, I think I need to add or. So let's check this out. Um, so, oh yeah, there you go. So if I add one more choice here, like say, so let's say making a video today, I'm creating a decision. I'm gonna add a choice here. yes and no. So if I vote for any one of those, it will not allow me to vote for this. It says voter here, so we need to change that. Like you don't want to display for everything voted, so you can see which one I voted for. Like if you want this, you can just go ahead and go deep into like adding consequences and stuff like that. But this isn't. Oh yeah, by the way, I need to add a share button to so that the users can share this decision board with other people. You can add a pop-up. Okay, not this small, but like slightly bigger. Add a input. Okay, and uh, and you want to display the initial content as current page boards link. Oops, that's link. Okay, you want to display the link, and then you want to say page to send to is board. Build something out of it. Go to the site called creatorschool.com. In the link in the description will take you to a page in creatorschool.com where you can discuss about this project, share your project creation, and share your ideas. What other features we can add, or if you have created something, like please let us know what you've built, so that all of us can grow together. And check out Creative School. And if you like this video, please be sure to like this video and comments. It helps this channel. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I shall see you guys in another hack project tutorial very soon. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah, that's okay. You wanna or you wanna do something like this? Say, um, yeah, this is fine. Okay, this is fine. Okay, so you wanna this will display the link to that thing, which they can share, but I think that's not enough. You need to add some buttons to let the users share it with the other users. So you wanna search for a plugin called Add to Any, or you just search for social. Um, or you wanna say, I think it's called Add to. So I add in here. I have the share buttons. I can just choose whatever I whatever options I want, to let the user. I want to you can add LinkedIn, Pinterest. I don't know why it's not showing here right now, but it's supposed to. The URL you want to share is you want to share the current page board's link. The page you want to send it to board, and the page name would be the current page board's title. So there you go. You wanna probably center align this if you want to. Um, yeah, no, Google Plus is no longer existing, so you don't want to have that. Whatever, how many ever you want to, you can just add those. Um, Now the share button is ready on the pop-up, but we need to add this to show the pop-up. So share this board. So or you can just type in share. Um, so this one it will be probably transparent button. Probably want to add this on the top. Alright, so we want to show just the pop-up there. So we want to say show the pop-up. So that's it. Now let's go ahead and check it out. We have one error here, and that is oh yeah, we can't have an extend vertical scrolling inside of this. So yeah. So let's go ahead and check this thing out so we can now share this page with other people. So they can now, this is by the way in development mode. As you can see here, only the ones in the live can be shared with other people. Like you can definitely view it inside the other people need to be logged inside Bubble in order to test this. So don't share this page here. Like some people will do this. Now you can also test it with Twitter and stuff, like it will work. So yeah. That's it, guys. So this is what I built in, allowing users to create, visualize decisions and stuff like that. You guys can take this project even further. I created a website called creatorschool.com where you guys can share ideas and share your projects with us, and sort of we can collaborate on other projects, and we can sort of build this project into further. And I want to see what you guys build with this. If you guys have any questions or sort of ideas, please be sure to drop them on creatorschool.com. The project page will be in the description below. As usual, guys, I shall see you guys in another video very soon. So stay subscribed.